Hi, and welcome to IP Solutions Tech Talk. My name is Gabriel Paus, and today we're going to discuss the business situation for operators. This is the first clip of two where we're going to go into this subject. And this first one is going to be more on the market analysis, and the next one is going to be more about the technical challenges for the operators. And with me to discuss this, I have Fredrik Beste, which has good insight into the manufacturer business of Telco. So, Fredrik, what are the challenges?
Well, I think we live in interesting times when it comes to the telecom market. It's rapidly changing. First of all, the basic thing we should understand is that traffic volumes are increasing all the time, and it's mobile data that is driving the traffic. Also on the fixed side, we see an increase, but not as much as mobile data. And that will continue for many years to come. Unfortunately, in the old days, if you go back 10 or 15 years, operators had a cash cow, and that was SMS traffic, text traffic. That doesn't exist anymore. I mean, no one is really making any money on SMS anymore. Mobile data has not replaced SMS as a cash cow, unfortunately. I think everyone is looking for this new cash cow. But it's very hard to find it. So what do operators do then? They have to lower cost instead, because revenues are going down, costs are still on the same level. And then what do they do, since they need to extend capacity, since we have this growth? Cost cutting, new technologies, and then we go into a thing which we might call the infrastructure revolution. And this is everything you have heard about: cloud, virtualization, OpenStack, 5G networks, all that, which we will be addressing in the next Tech Talk a little more in detail. So that's what they're doing. For some of these technologies, there might be opportunities for new models of business. I would assume that if you are looking into the connected car market for 5G and Internet of Things, you couldn't really charge the users of those systems like you would charge a normal telecom phone,
like a mobile phone, yeah.
No. And I think that might be an opportunity for operators.
Yeah. And the change here is that that's going to be actually a business-to-business case, right?
Yes, probably it's going to be like that. Because typically Ericsson would provide systems that Telia could sell to Volvo or whatever, if you address the Swedish manufacturers.
Yeah, so Volvo would like to connect a large number of cars.
Yeah, with the infrastructure of information. And we are already seeing projects like that going on in the world. So that's sort of not even future; it's actually happening.
And why is mobile data not driving this, being this cash cow? You have
competition, BitPipe stuck in the middle. If you look into business models, I mean, it's very cheap, and customers are not so willing to pay extra premium for this. You might compare the mobile market to the road system, roads and cars. Typically, you would go into a shop, you would buy a fancy car, you would probably select it very carefully, latest and greatest, pay a lot of money for it. Then you would typically decide where to go with the car. I mean, you have certain targets, but you wouldn't really care too much about the road system, unless the road system doesn't work. Then you really get upset if you have traffic jams, you have falling bridges or whatever. And I think the operators, in some sense, are stuck in this situation as well. They are the roads, and that's a problem. Another problem is what we call the OTT, over-the-top providers of mobile data, because it's not so much the users themselves that actually are creating all this traffic. It is actually the OTT players. And by OTT players, we mean Google, Facebook, Twitter, Netflix, all those play services that every channel has. They are probably the prime driver of all the traffic. I read somewhere that Facebook alone is 14% of all the backbone traffic globally in the networks, for instance. And I think this is quite a challenge for the operators, because they have to provide all this bandwidth, but no one is really paying them for that. The OTT players themselves, they get paid by advertising a lot. They are making much more, very much money. Google, for instance, and also Facebook these days. But very, very few of this money boils down to the poor telecom operators. So they are sort of stuck in between. They have to be a bandwidth provider, but no one is really paying them for it.
So that's kind of the challenges now with the top players. When it comes to the customers, what have we have there? How have they changed?
I think, we have this culture which has been going on for a long time, that the internet is more or less free. It probably dates back to when we all were using Unix terminals in the 90s, when we had a free network to play around with, into the PC world, and now into the mobile phones. No one is really willing to pay, and I don't really think that anyone can charge you too much money for web access, really. No one is interested in paying for that. And you have Wi-Fi everywhere, which is more or less free. So since you have this free service just around the corner all the time, the roaming service is not so valid for everyone. Of course, when you need it and when you're out of Wi-Fi and something happens, then it is extremely very important to have it. So it has to be there. But it's always the sort of the second priority and the second service that you would like to have.
And also, what about the top players? How the customers? What are they paying for? I think myself here. If I just calculate what money I put every month, I have like 100 Swedish crowns on Netflix and 100 more on Spotify, and it just goes on.
Yeah.
So number of like 100 crowns. That's just like I pay gladly. But if a mobile phone charger would say that, and we're going to also take a percentage of that, I would not be so happy.
Exactly. And that's sort of the key problem for operators these days.
And also, I think that the stronger bond to the manufacturer, also when going into the shop, like you said, the road and all that. But it's just like if you as a consumer, just like a private customer, goes in and you want I would like the latest smartphone of this model. And then you just go around in the shops and try to find wherever you can get it cheapest, and you don't care. And when you come home, you don't thank the operator. Thank you for giving me such a good deal on this fantastic phone. You just say thank you, phone manufacturer, and then it's just like it's nothing more.
It's a car thing again.
Yeah. So interesting to talk to you. We're going to discuss or continue this discussion, I would say, in the next clip, where we're going to talk more about those technical challenges for the operators. See you there. Bye.
Bye.